Have you ever stopped and wondered, why do you push yourself so hard to the point of complete exhaustion, yet deep down inside, you still feel entirely empty, like an utter failure? You wake up early in the morning, your body feeling as heavy as lead. But instead of giving yourself permission to hit snooze for just 5 more minutes, a harsh, judgmental voice echoes in your mind. Get up. You're falling behind. Just look at how far everyone else has already gotten. You pull 10, 14-hour workdays. You turn down social invites, skip family dinners. On the outside, everyone looks at you with admiration, labeling you an ambitious, driven workaholic. But there is a brutal truth that you only dare to confront in the dead of night. You are hollow. You are utterly depleted. And ironically, the more frantically you hustle, the deeper that inner void grows. Most of us were raised to believe that hard work is the golden ticket to success. But through the lens of behavioral psychology, that isn't always the case. What if the very work ethic you take so much pride in is actually a highly sophisticated form of self-sabotage? A psychological shield your brain constructed to protect you from an even deeper, more terrifying fear. Today, drawing from peer-reviewed studies by the American Psychological Association, or APA, and the insights of historical psychoanalysts, we are going to unmask 5 signs that prove your obsession with busyness is actually a desperate cry for help. If you see your own reflection in this discussion, please stay with me until the very last second. We aren't here to preach or lecture, but to provide you with 3 unique psychological tools to rewire your brain and reclaim your true freedom. So, let's begin. Sign number 1, paying rent for the right to exist. Conditional self-worth. Think about the very first question you get asked at almost any social gathering. Isn't it always, what do you do? Our modern hustle culture has successfully hijacked our sense of identity, planting a toxic narrative in our minds. Productivity is the sole currency of human worth. In fact, APA research shows that nearly 60% of American workers are actively experiencing burnout, driven by these exact internalized, unrealistic expectations. In psychological terms, this phenomenon is known as conditional self-worth. It's an algorithm programmed into us from early childhood. You only received praise if you brought home an A+, and you only felt validated if you won the competition. As adults, we unconsciously operate under a broken formula. Productivity equals worth equals the right to be loved. That is precisely why, when you try to spend a quiet Sunday just relaxing on the couch, your brain instantly punishes you with severe toxic guilt. It screams at you, calling you lazy. You are no longer working out of genuine passion. You are working tirelessly just to pay rent for your place and your basic right to occupy space in this world. Sign number 2, using busyness as the ultimate legal narcotic. Work as a numbing agent. Renowned physician and author Dr. Gabor Maté once exposed a profound truth. Workaholism is fundamentally no different from any other addiction. It is a desperate, frantic attempt to avoid feeling pain. Sigmund Freud's psychoanalytic framework referred to this defense mechanism as sublimation, the act of channeling raw, distressing internal impulses into socially celebrated, highly rewarded behaviors. Imagine your mind is a treadmill. As long as you are running breathless at top speed, you never have to look at the dark, uncomfortable corners of the room. But the very second you step off that machine on a Friday evening, the deafening silence crashes down on you. Suddenly, the deep fractures in your relationships, your existential loneliness, or the unhealed childhood traumas you've tried to outrun, finally start to speak up. Terrified by that sudden stillness, You rush back to your screen to fire off just one more email. In this state, busyness isn't driving your personal growth at all. It has become an emotional bomb shelter to hide from your own inner dark. Sign number 3, the dopamine trap in the digital Skinner box. Have you ever paused to ask yourself why crossing an item off your to-do list triggers such an oddly satisfying rush? In the mid-20th century, behavioral psychologist Boris Frederick Skinner conducted a groundbreaking experiment. He placed a rat inside a controlled box where every time the rat pressed a specific lever, a food pellet was released. Eventually, the rat became so hyper-focused on that reward cycle that it kept pounding the lever to the point of complete physical collapse. Now look closely at the modern corporate landscape, especially the relentless, non-stop work culture across top firms and Silicon Valley. Your brain is essentially that rat, and the lever has been replaced by email notifications, Slack pings, and the thrill of closing another contract. Every time you engage, your brain receives a quick hit of dopamine, the reward molecule. But dopamine is a relentless tyrant. As your neural pathways adapt to a baseline level of stimulation, they demand higher and more frequent doses to achieve that exact same high. If 8 hours felt productive today, tomorrow will demand 12. You are systematically burning out your own central nervous system, spiking your stress hormone cortisol into a permanent state of red alert, all to chase a fleeting chemical illusion, beautifully packaged as ambition. Sign number 4, the arrival fallacy and the voluntary Sisyphus. Dr. Tal Ben-Shahar from Harvard University coined a devastating psychological term called the arrival fallacy. This is the persistent illusion that once we finally reach our ultimate milestone, whether that's a major promotion, a certain net worth, or buying that dream home, we will achieve lasting, permanent happiness. But remember the ancient Greek myth of Sisyphus. He was condemned by the gods to push a massive boulder up a steep mountain, only to watch it roll right back down to the bottom the exact moment it touched the peak, forcing him to start all over again. For eternity. Look around you in reality. There are millions of Sisyphuses in tailored business suits filling up corporate skyscrapers. You trade away your physical health and miss your children's formative years just to secure a VP title or a luxury vehicle. You grit your teeth and push that boulder to the absolute peak. But the moment your hand touches it, the euphoria lasts for maybe 48 hours. And then, the familiar emptiness returns. The boulder rolls right back down to the base the moment leadership rolls out the new corporate KPI metrics for the upcoming quarter, and you, completely voluntarily, bend your back to push it up once again. Sacrificing your entire present moment for the illusion of a happy future, a future that never actually arrives, is the most heartbreaking form of self-inflicted harm. Sign number 5. The mask that devours the soul. The persona identity crisis. Why do so many exceptionally brilliant individuals, celebrated doctors, top-tier attorneys, or high-profile executives fall into severe clinical depression or a profound identity crisis the moment they retire or get laid off? The legendary psychoanalyst Carl Jung provided a brilliant answer through his concept of the persona. The persona is your external title, the glittering corporate armor you put on to perform for the outside world. Jung explicitly warned, the greatest danger is that people identify completely with their persona. When hard work mutates into self-sabotage, the mask of the high achiever completely devours your true self, your core soul. You literally no longer know who you are once your work is stripped away. You are terrified to your very core that if you actually stop working, beneath that magnificent mask, there is only an empty, meaningless void. You would rather exploit and run yourself into the ground than confront this agonizing truth. Outside of your professional output, you don't actually know how to love yourself. If you have listened this far and recognized your own reflection in these 5 signs, please take a long, deep breath. It's okay. Healing doesn't require you to instantly abandon your goals or turn in your resignation letter tonight. Healing begins by implementing 3 intentional steps of strategic inaction. Step 1. Shift from human doing to human being. The great humanistic psychologist Carl Rogers introduced a foundational healing concept called unconditional positive regard. This means understanding that you hold intrinsic value simply because you exist as a living human being, not because you operate as an efficient production machine, a human doing. The practice is simple. Tonight, before you sleep, instead of obsessing over tomorrow's hyper-detailed to-do list, try writing a to-be list. For example, tomorrow, I will practice inner peace. Tomorrow, I choose to be gentle with my mistakes. Gently remind your brain of a fundamental biological truth. Rest is not a reward you have to earn after pushing yourself to collapse. Rest is a basic biological right required for your survival. Step 2. Practice micro-exposure therapy with silence. The reason you feel a surge of panic when you stand completely still is because your amygdala, the brain's alarm system, is tricking you into believing that silence is an active threat. It fears that stillness will expose the deeply buried emotions you've avoided. In behavioral psychology, the definitive way to dissolve a fear is exposure, walking directly through it. The next time you feel that frantic, late-night urge to open your laptop at 10 p.m. just to drown out your thoughts, stop. Force yourself to sit completely still in that space for exactly 3 minutes. No phone, no work, no inputs. Initially, waves of restlessness, anxiety, and deep guilt will rush over you. Let them come and let them pass. You will uncover a deeply liberating truth. Stillness cannot hurt you. When you find the courage to face your own shadows, your addiction to busyness instantly loses its manipulative power over your life. Step 3. Harmonize flow state with Wu Wei. Psychologist Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi famously defined the most optimal, joyful state of human performance as flow, a psychological concept that mirrors the ancient Eastern philosophy of Wu Wei, effortless action. Wu Wei is far from laziness. It is when you create from a place of profound inner stillness and absolute absorption. You work for the pure, unadulterated joy of the creative process itself, completely detached from a frantic obsession with the final outcome or the need to prove your worth. You perform exactly like water winding its way through a rocky stream, fluid, unforced, aligned perfectly with the natural current, yet harboring the most enduring, unstoppable power. The world outside is already loud and demanding enough. Please, give your mind permission to rest, heal, and find its peace. You do not need to auction off your mental peace to buy external validation. You do not have to exhaust your spirit just to prove that you are worthy of existing. You are allowed to stop. You are allowed to take a breath. You are fully allowed to lay down that heavy boulder you've been carrying on your shoulders. If today, the absolute best you could do was simply wake up, breathe, and navigate through some heavy hours, trust me on this, you did incredibly well. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to be you, and that is already more than enough. It takes immense courage to sit down and honestly confront these truths. Thank you for showing up for yourself with that kind of bravery. Before you close the screen today, share your heart with me in the comments below. Out of the 5 signs we uncovered, which one represents the heaviest boulder you are quietly carrying? Sometimes simply finding the courage to accurately name your pain and write it out into words is the very first step to stripping away its power over you. I am here to read and gently listen to every single one of your stories.
Don't forget to hit that subscribe button so we don't lose touch on this shared journey of decoding human psychology in our upcoming episodes. For now, turn off your screen, take a deep, full breath, and be just a little bit gentler with yourself. I will see you very soon.